you, dear diary. So today I received a Scentflix box that I've ordered from its website, Scentflix, and this is the new cover. Stay home, stay safe. I think the founder of Scentflix, Puan Nurul, she is a very amazing lady. She definitely put a lot of effort in making her packages, and as usual, if you are from Malaysia or you are from Southeast Asia, you would definitely know this. This is something like a candy, like a chocolate candy. It's like a very cheap version of M&M. And together with the chocolate candy, I have my decant that I've ordered, which is Tom Ford Velvet Orchid, and another one that I had it once, but I sold it. It's a small decant of Montpellier. So today I will be talking about Velvet Orchid, comparing with another decant that I bought from another seller from Malaysia, and this is Black Orchid. Okay, so without further ado, let's compare the two. I'm going to talk about the beginning stage first, as I just sprayed it like about 5 minutes ago. So the beginning, I would say that actually the Velvet Orchid is more florally. It's definitely more orangey, almost citrusy, but there is some bitterness, as if there is some kind of bitterness from the orange peel, something like petitgreen. It's a little bit green at the beginning, citrusy at the beginning. Okay, so alright, let me begin again. I was interrupted. So the beginning stage of Velvet Orchid. I would like to talk about Velvet Orchid first. Alright, Velvet Orchid is more to my taste, as maybe I've mentioned just now. It's more like a citrusy scent in the beginning with the bergamot, and among the first few seconds I do get some green, almost like the peel of the orange, and it almost smells orange blossomy. Yes, it almost smells like orange blossomy grapiness. I'm trying to get the honey note in here, but the honey is not out there yet. I think the honey needs some more time to develop, I think, because it's a really sparkling citrusy scent in the beginning. Now, Black Orchid. Oh, Black Orchid is definitely something very, very different. I was, I really, to say that Velvet Orchid is a flanker of Black Orchid is not really convincing to my nose, because Black Orchid is definitely one of its kind. Okay, Black Orchid opens up very chamomile. If you have drunk chamomile tea before, yes, it almost gives me that kind of very calming scent, but very, very, very different. It's not citrusy. It's definitely not citrusy. Listed on the notes on Fragrantica is jasmine, ylang ylang, black truffle, black currant. To be honest, really there isn't any fruitiness from the currant or the berries or whatever fruit that is listed there. What I get is almost like drinking a tea kind of feeling, especially drinking some kind of chamomile tea. I imagine that would be the warm side, a very, very warm and sensual side of this jasmine. Nothing sharp. It's very smooth in the beginning. I was really taken in by that. Yes, the jasmine is there, almost like it's been made into a tea, kind of calming, It's very warm jasmine. And together with the warm jasmine, I think I get the black truffle. Yes, I think I really get the black truffle, because black truffle has that kind of scent, very different signature characteristic to it. It is very unusual, and it's very seldomly used in fragrance. And another fragrance that has the note of black truffle, if I remember correctly, would be the Valentino by Valentino. Yeah, it's that one, the original Valentino for woman, for her. That one also has a black truffle note, and it really, in this one, it's not as sweet as that one, but there is some black truffle characteristic in here. Very smooth, Yeah. In the beginning, I also do get some woodsiness and a little tiny bit of spiciness. It's really not that spicy, but it's a very calming floral jasmine, losing all of its freshness, its sharpness, and its edges, and smoothened by this trail of this black truffle. Oh, I would say the beginning of both of this fragrance I like. I'm still waiting for the honey note to come out in the velvet orchid, and I'm still waiting for the black orchid, the mysterious, imaginary rather than real black orchid, to come out in this black orchid. So I will come back to this later. Okay, so here I come to the middle stage of these fragrances. As it dries down on my skin, the Tom Ford Velvet Orchid. It is more florally than the black orchid. The floral, it's quite beautiful, but it's a mixture of all this floral. There is a tiny bit of sweetness, but it's very florally sweet, not as in like a gourmand sweet, although the honey note is listed in here. I don't think that the honey contributes to the gourmand side of this fragrance. Actually, I think the honey is quite thick, but it's more like a plant florally kind of honey. It's not really sugary honey, and to some extent I would say that it's quite herbal. It contributes to it actually performs the herbal side of this honey note, and it's mixed together with this floral. And there's so many flowers in here listed. There are jasmine, there are heliotrope, narcissus, roses, and also the black orchid accord in the velvet orchid. I think that is just some shadow of this black orchid accord, which was in this original one. It is just lending a tiny touch of that mysterious dry woodiness. It's not really that woody, not that dry. It's more like the flower side in this middle stage. And I think this fragrance actually goes through some stages, because in the middle it's florally, it's honeyed, but it's quite translucent. Yes, it's quite translucent. And as it dries down, the florally aspect, the translucent aspect of the flower, the sweetness, slowly becomes thicker, as if it has become more condensed. And that is the far dry down after 2 hours into this fragrance. So I am now smelling a lot of this myrrh. And the myrrh actually replace the translucent sweetness of the honey. I think it actually makes the whole thing more solid, more condensed, and thicker in texture, I say. And the benzoin, no, there's no benzoin. There's actually myrrh and some vanilla, but the vanilla really doesn't contribute much. The benzoin in here, the myrrh in here, sorry, I keep saying benzoin. The myrrh in here actually makes the whole thing very balsamic and almost ambery in some ways, but it's not truly an amber fragrance. Next, now I'm going to talk about the Tom Ford Black Orchid, the predecessor of this Velvet Orchid. Oh, so now this Tom Ford Black Orchid on my skin, it actually dries down pretty quick. It doesn't go through all the top stage, middle stage, and the trail stage of the Velvet Orchid, where it changes from this florally honeyed and slowly to this balsamic myrrh scent. It actually begins with black truffle note, and it slowly dries down to a drier version of the whole thing. I think the middle stage, although it features some more flowers, it's not really a floral fragrance. This is more like the amber style. The base note actually replaces all the middle note to my nose, because I do get that dry vetiver and dry patchouli. It's a very beautiful earthy patchouli. It's not dirty in any way, but it's just earthy to the extent that it's beautiful. And I would have to say that there is some sweetness, almost cocoa powdery like. It doesn't really smell like a dense black chocolate to my nose, but the sweetness is there. It's just not overly sweet. It's like a very earthy, very dry, a little tiny bit sweet black truffle scent to my nose. And there is a tinge of amber, just like the Velvet Orchid. There is a tinge of amber, but it's not really there. It is just like, giving this whole fragrance some shining, some rays of this translucency. And yes, comparing both Velvet Orchid and Black Orchid, on my skin, when it performs quite differently when I sweat and when I don't sweat. When I sweat, when I was doing work, physical work and sweating, a Velvet Orchid actually develops much more. The ambery aspect, the balsamic aspect actually performs more when my body temperature gets higher. And as for Black Orchid, as my body temperature gets higher when I was doing some physical activity, it actually becomes thicker. I think the sweetness comes through a little bit more when I sweat. So yes, I would say that overall, these two fragrances have little resemblance. I would say this is very dry and woodsy and powdery, not as in powdery like makeup powdery scent, but it's like a dry cocoa powdery scent. And this is much more honeyed, much more thicker, in a sense that it has some liquid in there, almost watery in the middle stage. So yes, as to how far I like these two, I would say that the Velvet Orchid actually performs better. I think I like Velvet Orchid better than the Black Orchid, but there are always time and occasion for different perfumes. And so this will be the end of my comparison review of these two perfumes by Tom Ford. And if you are peeping into this diary, I would really appreciate for you to subscribe and share your opinion with me. That's all. Bye.